post experience. Realization and post experience. Then we changed into the different Shaktis in terms of 13, 14, 15, till 15 we took. 15, 16, 17. We'll actually have the primary functions of Supreme Shakti as Anugraha, Tirodhana, Sthiti, then Srishti, Samhara. So, yeah, so let's consider 7 to 12, 13 to 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. Supreme 5 functions. Supreme 5 functions. Universal. (18 to 20). 18 and 20. Supreme manifestation. (21). So we'll get 2 to 6. Verse 1. Introduction. Verse 21. Closure. Introduction as Navadurga. Closure as Uma or Om. Om's female version, A-U-M. If you change it becomes U-M-A. Uma. This is how Adi Shankara actually has outlined Mahishasura Mardini Stotra as a complete description of individual realization stages. Board not visible. Better. As individual realization stages. Verse 1 is introduction, where you started with Navadurga. Verse 2 to 6 was pre-realization stages in terms of fight, in terms of tamas obstacle, rajas obstacle, different kinds of obstacles were discussed from 2 to 6. Sattva, rajas, tamas, Shivadudi, conflicting attitude, all those things were discussed. And then comes to realization, you get into individual realization, then universal realization, Shiva, Shakti, union realization, then going forward in terms of how that experience is as joy across the body. Then even after realization, how your own, now not Asuras, Devas will fight and how that needs to be countered. This all got discussed. Then, before that itself, so the realization and post-realization experience was discussed. Then comes to 5 functions, which corresponds to the 5 different functions. As if you look from bottom upwards, it is going as destruction, which is samhara. After destruction, life comes, srishti. Then what comes? Sthiti. Then what comes after Sthiti? Wherever there is sustenance, there is concealing, Tirodhana. And then comes Anugraha. This is the order. Anugraha, Tirodhana, Sthiti, Srishti, Samhara. Okay. So this was the 5 primary functions. Then you will come to supreme manifestations from that perspective. Supreme 5 functions is at a higher level, where you will look into an overlooking role is what is handled in the universal level. Universal level is a totality, but For individual activities, you need to create individual manifestations. This is an individual manifestation. I am an individual manifestation. Every cell is an individual manifestation. So individual also has to be considered. And somebody needs to consider it, which is a combination of usually Shiva Shakti, Vishnu, Lakshmi, and Brahma, Saraswati. So those devatas come under the supreme manifestation 18, 19, 20. And finally, you have closure, which is the supreme, or the one which encloses, one which represents the pure vibration, which is Om as Brahman, Pranava, which if you give, then we come to this, I will discuss how Uma came into picture from Om and all those kind of details. But basically it is Uma, and this computes the complete cycle involved in a person's spiritual journey, as well as from an individual perspective, a supreme perspective, how the connection is there, how the evolution takes place, what are the obstacles that are involved, and how a person can attain Devata in context with, explained in the context with Chandi Vidya. Okay. Chandi Vidya, so if you take Sri Vidya Devatas, the Devatas will change. The overall process remains the same. The overall steps remains the same. However, the Devatas will change. Some changes will come here and there in terms of overall approach. But the overall features will remain the same. For example, you have Vishukra, Vishankha, and Pandasura. 3 in Lalita. Lalita's fight. Well, there also 3 main. The main Pandasura and his 2 brothers is what comes into picture. But more detail comes in, because Pandasura again has children. And children are again associated with how the different tattvas and all work. So the tattva concepts are again brought in, how tattva destruction happens and all is discussed in Sri Vidya Lalita Upakhyaana. But Mahishasura Mardini or Saptashadi is primarily aligned with this. In Saptashadi, you usually see only Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Mahasaraswati. You only see then Lakshmi, Saraswati, Gauri. You also see multiple other devatas, Jagaddatri, Bhavani, Matriga, Navadurga. So all the devatas, all these steps of a spiritual aspirant is almost similar. Different paths will have slight variations. But overall, it remains the same. Even if you look into Subramanya, Subramanya has again fighting with 3 different asuras is mentioned. The 3 has to be overcome in Subramanya. If you look into Hanuman going to Lanka or covering Samsara Sagara, there's another Sagara, but it is basically Samsara Sagara. There also he faces 3 obstacles. He has to overcome these 3 in order to reach the other side. So basic things which a spiritual aspirant goes through in a process of achieving enlightenment or achieving self-realization and understanding the connect with nature is almost similar. Not just in this, as I mentioned, you will find videos, others and all. If you look into the 3 questions or 3 challenges to Christ is there. There are also 3 questions aligned with the 3 obstacles. If you look into the 3 of Buddha, there also 3 obstacles are mentioned with details in terms of this. Even modern masters like the founder of Reiki, while he climbs down the mountain, he faces 3 obstacles, which is again conveying the same thing in terms of how a self-realization journey is aligned, how realization works. So different systems actually have slight variations based on what is significant in that tradition. What is significant in the Buddhist tradition shows Buddha's journey. What is significant in Christianity from faith perspective and other details are called out in that. Now, our Saptashadi takes a very generic stand so that anybody who is actually taking a spiritual path can use it as a reference, because everyone's journey is different. You cannot be Christ. You cannot be Buddha. You are you. Everyone is actually everyone is capable of being a Devata, or everyone has Devata. It is just a process of realization. That is what is the approach in Hindu thought and Tantra. It's not like, okay, That is God, you are something else. Everyone is Devata. Everyone have their unique journeys. But if you look at an outline map, you will find it is almost the same. It is just in terms of what you really see, what you really experience is unique to you, which would be different from others. But the overall process remains the same. Subramanya, there is we have a video in our YouTube. Go through it. It's not Sattva Rasa, it's all three. So there also Subramania's war is actually detailed with names of Asuras, with details, why this, why how, why this particular name is given to this particular mountain, why his veil is having this particular name, why this Asura is called this, what is being depicted. We have tried to analyze that, and you will find the exact similarity coming in. The same thing you can look into from, you can pick multiple things in terms of Krishna's fight against Naragasura. You will find all this in terms of spiritual thought having some variations, but you will find a lot more commonalities in a lot of these. Of course, there are stories which have completely different details in terms of from a sadhana perspective, which will be embedded in the overall system. Just like this one actually has Chandi Vidya related details outlined. Similarly, if you look into Lalita Upakhyana, you will find it shows the sadhana krama, sadhana related details also in Lalita Upakhyana. It will show like which devata it starts with, the significance that happens, why Ganapati needs to come in terms of this, then why this actually happens, then why this obstacle happens, why Jwalamalini has to come up in order to resolve a specific issue. So more technicalities in the sadhana, more technicalities in that specific path is outlined in that particular devata, which a guru of that system will definitely advise you as appropriate. Yes, we have Chandi classes going on. Already started, sorry. So we have, so let's come back to our, so hope this overall details is clear. Hope. So we have reached, I do not want to go through individual verse again so that we can save time. Okay. So we have now coming to, we did Tirodhana, we did Anugraha, Tirodhana, Siddhi also we did. So we are now in 16. Kati Tata, Pita, Kati Tata, Pita. Kati Tata, waist lining. Pita Dukula, yellow garment. Pita, yellow. Dukula, garment. Kati Tata, waist lining. Pita Dukula, yellow garment. Then what? Pita Dukula, yellow garment. Mayukha, Vichitra Mayukha, Vichitra Mayukha, brilliant race. Vichitra Katitata, waist lining. Pita, yellow. Dukula, garment. Vichitra Mayukha, brilliant race. Tiraskrita, excels. Chandra Ruche, moon race. Audio is clear, right? Okay. So first line said, Katitata Pita Dukula Vichitra Mayukha Tiraskrita Chandra Ruche, which means waist lining, yellow garment, brilliant rays, excels moon rays. So the shining rays which is coming out from her yellow garment which she is using in her waist lining, whatever she is wearing, she is wearing a yellow garment. Whatever she is wearing as a yellow garment is excelling moon's rays. So that much shining it is. That much shining is her yellow garment which she has worn. Okay. So significance is given here to her waistline. So most probably, like earlier Devatas, there might be a Tiraskrita means disrespect in. I did not say Tiraskrita means disrespect, it says excels, above. Excels is much higher. Excels moon rays. Waistline yellow garment, brilliant rays, excels moon rays. Okay, so basically her waistlining garment is given significance here. Okay, let's see the next one. Pranata Sura Asura. Pranata Sura Asura. Salutations from Devas and Asuras. Pranata Sura Asura. Sura Asura. Suras Deva. Asura Sura. Salutations from Devas and Asuras. Mauli Manispura. Mauli means crown. Manispura. Their crown gems shine. Their crown gems shine. Mauli Mani Spura. Mauli Mani Spura. Mani on Mauli. Gem on crown. Spura shine. The crown gem shine. Pranata Surasura. Pranata means salutation. Sura is Deva. Asura is Asura. Salutations from Devas and Asuras. What kind of salutation? Their crown gems shining. That means they have, read after the full sentence, then you will understand what is being said. Okay. We are not going with the Sanskrit one. I am doing it in a way by which you can easily follow. When you chant itself, you remember the meaning is my goal. So, Mauli Mani Spura, their crown gem shine. Damshula Sannaka, causing glowing on nails. Causing glowing on nails. Naka, on Naka means nails. Damshula Sannaka, causing glowing on nails. Chandra Ruje, like moon rays. Like moon rays. Yes, glowing on nails. Like moon rays. Chandra Ruje. Okay. So now, after saying about her yellow garment which she is wearing on her waistline, which is shining like the moon rays itself. So it is pattu, like silk. Usually it's this silk dress that you offer. Whenever I say parihara and all, silk is what is used. So it will be very shining. So it will shine like anything when there is lamp or lighting and all. So that is what is usually offered to Devata. So here, yellow garment is yellow silk, yellow shining garment is what is mentioned. Below her waist only, it is called out that Kaditata, waist is what is mentioned. Next line, what is saying? Salutations. So, if the gem of crown of Asuras and Devas have to bring a shine on her nails, then it means they are doing namaskara. They are not doing general salutations. They are doing namaskara with their heads on her feet. As a result of which, their head has crown, right? So their head has crown and they are doing namaskara. And that gem, her nails are so smooth and shining that that reflection is actually glowing in her nails. Okay. So here it is not her nails that is significant. It is said that Devas and Asuras are falling on her feet. Is the significance. Devas and Asuras, both of them are actually falling on her feet for her grace. Pranata Surasura Mauli Manispura Damshula Sannaka Chandra Ruche. Okay. Next one. Here, last one is Kumbha. Kumbha Kuche. Kucha is breast. Okay. So this line is explaining about her breast. So we can assume, like earlier Devata forms and sculptures, it was at that point of time, Devatas from that perspective, it might be bare-chested from that perspective, because this Devata has significance from that perspective. Why this Devata has significance? We handled Tirodhana, we handled Anugraha, Tirodhana, Siddhi, now Srishti. We are handling creation. So what are the two important parts of creation? The two important parts of creation is the breast and the waist region. Why males generally are wired towards attraction towards breast and the waist region? It shows the capacity of a female to bear, to produce. Bigger the waist from that perspective, the easier it is to hold the child. So generally, males will have an attraction towards bums and chest from that perspective to nurture the child. So there's a natural wiring associated with this because it is about the reproduction ability. So Devi's breast and waist is what is actually called out in this particular verse. Her breast and her waist is called out, and she as the universal mother is called out, not just saying about Devas, it says Devas and Asuras are on your feet. Okay, now let's look at the third line. Jita Kanakachala. Kanaka Achala. Okay. Golden peak. Golden peak excels. Excels golden peak. Jita. Jita means to win or to excel. To win. It is more than. It excels. Okay. Jita. To excel or to win. Win what? It is much better, or it actually excels the golden peak. The golden peak. What? Her breasts. The golden peak. Golden peak generally from Kailasa perspective, you would have seen pictures, right? It actually has a golden color when the sun shines. So that association with Kailasa is called out from his vision. He's actually seeing that. He's trying to compare her breasts. And the first thing that comes to his mind is Kailasa itself. So he says, excels golden peak. Excels golden peak. Jita Kanakachala. Okay. Then Mauli Madorjita. Mauli. Mauli means forehead region. Mauli Madorjita, maddened. Forehead of maddened. Maddened. Mada Urjita. Mada Urjita. Nirbhara Kunjara. Unrestrained elephant. Unrestrained elephant. Unrestrained elephant. Nirbhara Kunjara. Unrestrained elephant. I have seen in yesterday's class as well as last few weeks class for Mahishasura Mardini as well. Whenever there is some question about what was this word, this and all, I find like Polyg will usually give the meaning out. Say, wow, at least somebody can understand my accent. Indian accent is so at least somebody is able to understand, and of course, being Polyg, if she can understand, I'm quite surprised why others are finding it so hard to understand from that perspective. But okay, so coming back, suddenly remember about this. So forehead of mad and unrestrained elephant. Mauli Madorjita Nirbhara Kunjara. Okay, this is one comparison. So what is this comparison? Mada from that perspective is not just limited to Mada Urjida, can mean multiple from that context. Mada Urjida, it is actually enhanced madness or highly maddened is one way to look into it. Mada Urja, or in an actual context, since he's mentioning about forehead and Mada Urjida, it shows Mada from that perspective also means the fluid that oozes out from the elephant head near the temples when it is having high level of madness. During hot seasons, it will increase. And in that case, near its temple, you will see the oozing, urja, the flow you can see. And that is also called Mada because it is another term for madness of the elephant. So Mada Urjita, forehead of maddened, rather than that forehead oozing of maddened elephant is much better. Forehead oozing fluid of maddened elephant also is directly intended here. Forehead of mad. Multiple things are coming. One, it is talking about breast, correct? So forehead of elephant comparison to breast is there in multiple scriptures. So it can be a, first he compared it to mountain. Second, he can compare it to the forehead of elephant, which is perfectly fine. But he did not compare it to the forehead of any elephant. He specifically compared it to Madorjita, unrestrained elephant. So it is saying it is actually filled. It is filled with Mada. It is filled with honey, or it is filled with oozing, nourishing energy is actually brought up. So her breasts are not just looking as any breasts. It's the motherly breasts which are ready to nurture is the Sankalpa. It is the not any breast of any particular person. Her motherly quality is what is getting called out. Her ability to nurture is what is getting called out when he says Madorjita. It is not just the mauli of an elephant. He could have said mauli of an elephant. He did not say that. He said the forehead of a maddened elephant, which is anytime it can ooze. It is actually filled with the nurturing fluid, or basically Mada will not be nurturing fluid, but Mada is compared to honey. Mada is considered to be because it becomes intoxication to the elephant. It is actually considered to be bliss of realization. All this corresponds to is a comparison that is used. So this line also, this here also, it is actually corresponds to Mada Orjita, corresponds to the fluid-filled forehead, or it shows her breasts are ready to nurture. And he does not complete the comparison there. Again, he also says, Kumbha Kuche, pot-like breasts. Pot-like breasts. Kumbha, pot. Kuja, breast. Again, pot will be filled with something that can be nourishing. So pot-like breasts. Filled breasts, it's not anger, filled breasts ready for mother to nurture the child. Three comparisons came in: golden peak, then forehead of elephant, maddened elephant, and then kumbha kuje, kumbha, pot, pitcher, pot would be better in this context, pot, kuja, bus, okay. And then, of course, Jai Jai He, Mahishasura Mardini, Ramyaka Mardini, Chaitanya. Victory, victory of slayer of Mahishasura, beautiful head, daughter of mountain. Okay, so directly maps. Now we know from which Devata from that perspective. After describing Devi, then in this particular verse, after talking about Sthiti in the previous verse, the Srishti aspect or the act of manifestation is what is actually called out. The act of giving birth, the act of creation, giver of existence, giver of birth, giver of creation. Bhava Ani means giver of creation, giver of existence, giver of life is the meaning of Bhavani. Bhava Ani. Act of manifestation. Supreme Devi on the act of manifestation, the one who gives, giver of existence, giver of life, all this means is the meaning of term Bhavani. The goddess of this verse is Bhavani. In this verse, the Devi form as mother or Bhavani is covered. Adi Shankara gives various details to clarify this form referred here is Bhavani, who is, of course, Durga, Chandi, Parameshwari, or Supreme Mother in her act of manifestation. Bhavanitvam Dase, verse in Saundarya Lahari. There is a verse in Saundarya Lahari saying Bhavanitvam Dase Mayudra Drishtin Sagaruna, which actually verse Saundarya Lahari has same reference. In that verse has same reference which he has made on toenail shining from the reflection of crowns falling on her feet of Asuras and Devas. Same author, right? So when he talks about Bhavani, he is bringing his mind is actually having the same thing, though he wrote it in two different stotras. One was Saundarya Lahari stotra, one is Mahishasura Mardini stotra. When he talks about Bhavani, he has used the same thing in both, where he actually conveys the same thing in that particular verse about Devatas falling on her feet and her toenails shining from the reflection of crown gems falling on from the Asuras and Devas falling on her feet. The Supreme Mother qualities is further clarified and exemplified in describing her waist and her breast as well, both of which are key attributes of motherhood. Both are very key attributes. Those are the two key attributes of motherhood: to hold the baby before birth and to nurture the baby after birth. Holding the baby before birth and then nurturing the baby after birth. So first two lines are pretty straightforward, trying to clarify Amba Bhavani itself. The third line also aligns to Bhavani and how Sal Shankara compares the golden glow. In Saundarya Lahari, he compares it to a golden pot. Here he has actually, in order to align it with the number of words in that particular verse, he split that. His golden pot example in Saundarya Lahari, he splits it into golden mountain and pot shape separately. But he uses the same comparison as well in Saundarya Lahari in a different way. But he says there as a golden pot. The golden peak, pot shape, and all he has mentioned. There he mentions golden glow pot shape. Golden pot is what he mentioned. But he clarifies it is filled, ready to nourish by comparing to the forehead of an unrestrained mad elephant. For the forehead of that nectar of intoxication or madness can ooze anytime. So that comparison as well as the details are perfectly clear in this particular verse on how Adi Shankara wants to clarify it is Bhavani. He does not leave that. Similar to his comparisons are also mostly similar here. Similar here in this particular verse. Okay, let's take the next verse. One verse itself will take 40 minutes. Gosh, okay. Every class it is the same. Now I'll have to speed up the next two, like all the other classes. Vichita Sahasra. Vichita Sahasra Karega. Okay. Vichitra Sahasra Kara. Vichita Sahasra Kara. Okay. So now we come to Samhara. This line you will see full Samhara only. He clearly actually every line is about killing, destroying only. About winning somebody or the other is mentioned here. So you will see that coming up in this particular one. Okay. Okay. So here many people wrongly has attributed it to Kartivirya. Of course, it is Kartivirya, that 1,000-handed one means there are 1,000-handed one. 3 comparisons of 1,000-handed person is used in the first line of the verse. Vichita Sahasra Kareiga, that is one. Sahasra Kareiga, second person. Sahasra Kareiga Nude. So 3 Sahasra Karas are there. And you cannot repeat in Sanskrit. So 3 people are being referred here. We'll have to understand who these 3 people are. First one, it says Vijita Sahasra Kara, the one who was victorious in the fight with the 1,000-handed one. Vijita, victorious. Victorious in fight with 1,000-handed one. Okay. First we'll go with, so this corresponds to Parashurama. This is Parashurama, who was victorious over Kartivirya. First one. So 3,000 hand people worshipped her. 3,000 hand people worshipped her. Who all were there is what is outlined in this particular verse. So who were these 3? Who were these 3 is we need to understand. First one says victorious over 1,000-handed one or 1,000-handed. The 1,000-handed one here is Kartivirya. Kartivirya. And the one who fought him and was victorious is Parashurama. Okay. Many try to say it is Kartivirya, but it clearly says Vijita Sahasragara. So the one who was victorious over the 1,000-handed person, that becomes Parashurama, not Kartivirya. Victorious in fight with 1,000-handed Kartivirya. The one who defeated Kartivirya is Parashurama. Parashurama is devotee of Durga. Parashurama is devotee of Durga. Parashurama Kshetra. Parashurama Kshetra is Kerala. Parashurama Kshetra has 108 Durgalayas. Parashurama, in order to make his land Punya, he actually created 1,008 Shiva temples and 1,008 Durga temples. 1,008 Shivalayas, not 1,008, 108 Shivalayas and 108 Durgalayas in Kerala. There are 108 Durga temples in Kerala and there are 108 Shiva temples in Kerala attributed to Parashurama. As a part of making it Parashurama Kshetra, Parashurama wanted to make it a divine place after his meditation, after his prayers. Prayers might have been to Lalitambika. According to according to Tribhuva Rahasya, he actually spent 12 years trying to in ritualistic before actually getting into the jnana part. So there is a practice time allocated or practice to get the maturity usually corresponds to 12 years. So majority vidyas, if you look to master, you will take 12 years. So the same is called out in Tribhuva Rahasya. Okay, unnecessary. We'll come to here. So Parashurama. So Parashurama is an ardent devotee of Durga. So first 1,000-handed one is Parashurama. So 1,000-handed one is so first one is Parashurama. Second Sahasrakaraika Eka Sahasrakara. The one with 1,000 hands again is mentioned. Vijita Sahasrakara. First one. Vijita Sahasrakara. After that you have Eka Sahasrakara. Eka Sahasrakara. The one with 1,000 hands. Surya. Second one is Surya. Second one is Surya. Second one is Surya. The 1,000 rays of sun. The 1,000 rays of sun. Sun is said to have thousands of rays. So Sahasram does not necessarily mean 1,000. It just means a lot. Is the context of where you actually mean. Whenever you say about, let's say, Sahasra Rashmi is what is corresponding to sun. Now, how is sun a devotee of Durga? Yes, sun is also a devotee of Durga. Sun is said to shine because of Devi Durga itself. Goddess Durga as Kushmanda, Goddess Durga as Kushmanda resides in the center or heart of sun. Resides in the center or heart of sun, according to Skanda Purana. So let's understand the story. So Shiva got to know that Surya was neglecting work. Everyone actually wants to neglect work, right? So sun also at one point of time wanted to neglect his or her work. So sun was neglecting work. Obviously, the person who is in charge of managing things, the manager will get angry. So here the manager is Shiva and Devi. So Shiva and Devi has to handle. Devi at least will say, poor thing. Let him take some rest. Shiva was not of that mood. Shiva got angry with Surya Deva. He threw his Trishula towards Surya Deva, incapacitating him. So he got incapacitated. Later, in order to get back, obviously, Shiva will only destroy. To get back something, you will have to go to Devi itself. The nourisher is obviously Devi. So Surya Deva actually praised Devi. In terms of Devi Durga, from that perspective, he does ardent prayers to Durga. And Devi brings sun back to capacity. Sun is very happy. He invites Devi to Surya Loka. Devi goes as Kushmanda. Kushmanda, what does it mean? I mentioned in the first verse when we talked about Navadurga. Kushmanda means shining. So the shining of sun comes from her energy. So Devi Durga as Kushmanda energizes and resides in center of sun. In center of sun resides Durga as Kushmanda. Clear? So second, Ega Sahasrakara is not. Vijita Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara. What is the third 1,000-handed one? Krishna. Krishna. Where do you see Krishna with 1,000 hands? Vishwarupa. Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, lot of Puranas. Wherever he wants, he gets angry, he will bring in Vishwarupa. So the next 1,000-handed one is Krishna in Vishwarupa. Krishna has authored multiple stotras to Durga. He asked Pandavas also to pray to Durga and all. But in addition to that, he also is an ardent devotee of Krishna, an ardent devotee of Durga. Brahma Vaivarta Purana has stotras of Krishna towards Goddess Durga. Brahma Vaivarta Purana has Krishna's stotra to Durga. Multiple instances are there about Krishna and Durga from that perspective. Okay. So we got all three. So that is the first line. Finally, Eka Ekanute, the one worshipped. Ekanute. Ekanute. Eka, one. The one worshipped. So, Vichitra Sahasrakaraika is what you actually chant. But basically it is Vichitra Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Nute. Okay? Vichitra Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Nute. The one victorious in fight with 1,000-handed, the one with 1,000 hands, the one with 1,000 hands, the one worshipped is the first line. Clear, right? Okay. Vichita Sahasrakareika 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 Nute. Okay. Vichita Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Sahasrakara, Eka Nute. The one worshipped. Eka Nute. The one worshipped. Krita Sura Taraka. Krita Sura Taraka Sangara. Okay. Krita, Krita, act, perform. Krita, Sura, Devata, Deva. Taraka, Sangara. Taraka, Taraka, protection. Protection. Taraka has multiple meaning in this particular line. We'll take one by one. Protection. Sangara, duty. Arrangement or duty. Sangara, to arrange, or what is expected to be done. Only if you come to the full line, you will understand the meaning. So let's hold on. Right now, just write it as performs Devata protection duty. Okay. Perform Devata protection duty. Krita Sura Taraga Sangara. Perform Sura protection duty or perform Devata protection duty. Krita Sura Taraga Sangara. Perform Devata protection duty. Then what? Taraka Sangara. Taraka Sangara. So this second Taraka is Taragasura. There is an Asura called Taragasura. Taragasura Sangara. Taragasura Sangara. Okay. Did war with Taraka. Did war with Taraka. Did war with Taraka. Did war with Taraka. Taraka Sangara. Did war with Sankara. Did war with Taraka. Did war with Taraka. Which Taraka? Taragasura. Did war with Taragasura. Taraka Sangara. Okay. So far done. Taraka Sunu. Next Taraka is Shiva. Sunu means son. Shiva's son. Taraka Sunu. Shiva's son. Sude as son. S-O-N as son. As son. As son. As whose son? Devi's son. Second last son is as son. As your son. Okay. As son. Okay. So what does this mean? This means mother of Kartikeya. Mother of Kartikeya. Who is Shiva's son? Killer of Taragasura and protector of Devas. Okay. This line means Sude, not Ude. Sude means as son. Shiva's son. It should be connected to Devi, right? And then says Sude as son. Whose son? Your son. You are talking about Devi here. So earlier, just like Nude came, Eka Nute. The one worshipped. One worshipped. Who is worshipped? Devi is worshipped. In the next line, when it comes to last as Sude, it is your son. So this line means mother of Kartikeya. Mother of Shiva's son. You can say it as that itself. Kartikeya name is not called out. Mother of Shiva's son, who killed Taragasura and protector of Devas and protected Devas. Mother of Kartikeya, who is Shiva's son, killer of Taragasura and protector of Devas. Mother of Kartikeya. Kartikeya is implied. Mother, who is Shiva's son. You are the mother of who? Of Shiva's son, who killed Taragasura and who is protector of Devas. Who has a duty of protecting Devas as Devasenapati. Okay, he is Devasenapati. He is Taragasurantaka. All these names are corresponding to Subramanya itself. Shivasuda, Parvati Sudha. All these are names of Subramanya or Kartikeya. Taragasurantaka. Vigna Raja Sodara. All these are names of Subramanya itself. Son of Shiva, son of Devi, brother of Ganapati, the one who defeated Taragasura, the one who is leader of the Devasena. All these corresponds to one person only, that is Subramanya or Kartikeya. You are the mother of that particular Deva, is mentioned. Now, Skanda Purana itself, he was actually, you can understand the context of his thought process now. While actually he wrote the previous line, he was thinking about Skanda Purana because he had to write about Kushmanda and the story which comes in Skanda Purana. He has not come out from Skanda Purana. He is coming to another story in Skanda Purana where Parvati itself takes form as Kushmanda in the story of sun in Skanda Purana. Kushmanda was one of Navadurga. Skandamata is also one of Navadurga itself. Skandamata is also one of Navadurga itself. And the story of Taragasura Nigraha is coming in Skanda Purana itself. Taragasura's killing comes in Taragasura Nigraha or Taragasura's killing is given in Skanda Purana itself. And Skandamata, one of the Navadurgas, is also Devi itself. Devi's Shaktivel or spear is used by Skanda to kill Taraga. Devi's Samhara Shakti as Durga is highlighted in it. Goddess Skandamata, Skanda's mother or Subramania's mother, Shiva's son. Same only. While Kushmanda was relating to sun, Skandamata is relating to Taragasura Nigraha. Here Nigraha is getting significance, that's all. How did Taragasura get killed? Using Shaktivel. Using what? Shakti's spear. Shakti's spear is what killed Taragasura. Okay. So Taragasura Nigraha, Vel, Shaktivel is used by Skanda to kill Taraga. Devi's Samhara Shakti as Durga is highlighted. Not just as Skandamata. You see that it is Skandamata, but her motherly affection is not what is called out in this line. Her son, who fought Taragasura, killed Taragasura, protected the Devas, is what is called out. How he killed? He used Shaktivel to kill. He used Devi's Shakti to kill. He did not use anything else. He used Devi's Shakti to kill, which is clearly called out in the Purana. Shaktivel is what is used. Devi's own Shakti is what is used by Skanda to kill Asuras. So Devi's power as Shakti itself is called out in that line as well. But Samhara Shakti is called out. Third line. Oh, we are still stuck with the second line. So first line also he used Skanda Purana. Second line also he used Skanda Purana. Now he uses something relating to, he is actually coming to a closure of the 5 functionalities, right? Samhara. So Samhara, 5 functions are coming to an end. So he comes to a line about Suratha. Suratha and Samadhi are 2 characters in Saptashadi. 2 characters in Saptashadi, Suratha and Samadhi. Suratha wants materialistic outcome. Samadhi wants spiritual outcome. What does Samadhi mean? Spiritual accomplishment. Samadhi means spiritual accomplishment. We have named it also Samadhi so that you can understand it is Samadhi. Suratha. Suratha means a good chariot. And chariot is compared to the body itself in multiple Puranas. Lot of Vedic works, lot of Upanishad works and all compare a chariot. We are like, it's a chariot and our indweller, our self is compared to the chariot rider. So our body is the chariot. So materialistic outcome, Suratha. Suratha. Suratha and Samadhi. Okay. Suratha, Samadhi. Samana, Samadhi. Samadhi, Samadhi. Okay. So Samadhi, from that context, as I mentioned, has accomplishment as a meaning. Samadhi, the end. Sama. Samadhi, the closure, the accomplishment, the final is what is the meaning. Okay. So Suratha's Samadhi. What is Suratha's accomplishment? Suratha's accomplishment is first Suratha Samadhi. Suratha's accomplishment. Suratha Samadhi. Suratha's accomplishment. Samana Samadhi. An equal one's accomplishment. An equal one's accomplishment. Suratha's accomplishment. Suratha Samadhi. Samanam. An equivalent. Samana means an equivalent one or an equal one. An equivalent one's accomplishment. And then Samadhi's Samadhi. Samadhi's accomplishment. What are these 3 accomplishments? Suratha's accomplishment. Materialistic outcome he wanted. So, Sujatarate. Sujatarate. Who produces or who gives? Let's complete the meaning and then explain what it means. Sujatarate. Who produces or gives. Sujatarate. Who produces or gives. So what did Suratha want? Suratha wanted materialistic accomplishment. He wanted kingdom. He wanted to rule kingdom. He wanted to actually rule the full world. He wanted to actually have a lot of kingdom. He wanted to have a lot of wealth. He wanted to have a lot of next generation and others and all. He wanted to be he wanted materialistic outcome. And Devi gave him that. In the end of Saptashadi, you hear Suratha's wish gets fulfilled. Then, next one. So Devi gave that. What did Samadhi want? Samadhi wanted spiritual accomplishment. He said, I have done with life. Now I want to attain spiritual accomplishment. I want to have spiritual. I want to get realized. So Devi gave him, okay, if you want that, given. So Samadhi wanted spiritual accomplishment. Devi gave that. Now, Adi Shankara knows there are people who don't fall under Suratha category and Samadhi category. Like a lot of people. We want what? We want materialistic outcome as well as spiritual outcome. We want both outcomes. That is the third category. And equal one's accomplishment who wants Surathas as well as Samadhis. Suratha means good body, signifying materialistic. Samadhi means meditation, signifying spiritual accomplishment. Samana or equal one in this context is one who wants both materialistic and spiritual accomplishment. Materialistic and spiritual accomplishment. That also Devi will give. That also Devi offers. Is conveyed in that particular line. Yeah, both can achieve both, which is also mentioned in Saptashadi. It says, Bhukti Mukti Pradayini. Bhukti and Mukti she will give. But there were only two characters. So he does not have a third character to name from Saptashadi. So he says, somebody who wants equal of both also will get whatever they want. Devi will give. So he says, Surada Samadhi, Samana Samadhi, Samadhi Samadhi, Sujatarate. Who gives all three. If you want materialistic, you will get materialistic. If you want spiritual, you will get. If you want both, that also she will give. Okay. That is the line that last is, of course, Jay Jay Hey, Mahishasura Mardini, Emyaka Bartin, Victory, Victory, Osero, Mahishasura, beautiful hair, daughter of mountain. Goddess is Durga. Of course, the goddess is Durga. Out of the three Shaktis, as I mentioned in, I did not mention in this class, right? Okay. So basically, we have Mahadurga for Samhara, Mahamaya for Mahamaya corresponding to Siddhi, and then in terms of Lalita corresponding to Sattva. So Tamas, Rajas, Sattva from main perspective. If you look into Kavaja, Argalam, Kilagam, the goddess corresponds to Durga. Durga becomes the Raudra form of Devi, Chandi. So Mahadurga, Mahamaya, and then Lalita is how you make offerings in the Chandi Havan and all. So Chandi Havan offerings and all aligns to this particular sequence. The Trayanga Parayana aligns to this sequence. The Dhyana Sloka of Kavacham is aligned to Mahadurga. Argalam is aligned to Mahamaya. Kilagam is aligned to Lalitambika. Corresponding to Tamas, Rajas, Sattva. So now you come to Durga. Durga is the Devata for this particular verse. Durga. Durga. Just check the Dhyana Sloka of Argala, Kavaja, Argala, Kilava. Kavajam corresponds to Kavaja corresponds to Mahadurga. Argalam corresponds to Mahamaya. And Argalam, Kavajam, Argalam, Kilava. Kilava corresponds to Lalita. Dhyana Sloka. Okay. So let's come to verse number 18. So we completed 5 functions. Okay. So the overlooking plane is complete. The overlooking plane we had Devi, Shakti, Shiva Shakti, and all details and all as Rajas, Tamas, Sattva and all we mentioned. And they overlook 5 functions. Shiva Shakti combination, but with specific names. Now we come to the manifestation plane where overlooked by again combinations. But it will have to be specific names that you have to look. So we have to, if we go with the sequence, we have Samhara, Srishti, Sthiti. Correct? So Sthiti, who is corresponding to Sthiti? Obviously, Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is what Adi Shankara brings out in this particular verse. Who corresponds to Sthiti? Sthiti of what? This is not corresponding to the universal totality. Individual manifestations. Individual manifestation, somebody needs to take care. Siddhi is taken care by Vishnu Lakshmi. Srishti needs to be taken care by Brahma Saraswati. Samhara needs to be taken care by Shiva and Parvati. So different functionalities come in the manifestation plane. And Siddhi corresponds to Lakshmi. No, Durga. So earlier verse 17 is Durga. Verse 17 is Durga. Verse 18 is Lakshmi. Verse 18 is Lakshmi. Verse 18 is Lakshmi. Clearly called out, we can understand now. So it is the first Siddhi he will call. Next time he will call on Srishti. Last in verse 20 he will call Samhara Devata. Okay. Kavaja, Argala, Kilaga and all you can forget just from Chandi Vidya perspective. From your generally for you can it's just on the background of what is the thought process. Okay. Pada Kamalam. Pada Kamalam. Your lotus feet. Your lotus feet. What do you, the moment you think about Lakshmi, what comes to your mind? Lotus. So this verse is filled with lotus only. Full lotus. Oh, money comes to your mind. Okay. Money also to some extent is actually looked into. Not to worry. So she, any kind of accomplishment, any kind of auspiciousness, all that will come out. Wealth, of course, that is also there. Wealth also comes out. Not to worry. So let's look into the details of this stotra. Pada Kamalam, your lotus feet. Your lotus feet. Karuna Nilaye, O merciful one. O merciful one. O merciful one. Karuna Nilaye. Vari Vasyati. Whoever worships. Whoever worships. Whoever worships. Yonu Dinam. Every day. Sushive, oh very auspicious one. Shive means auspicious one. Sushive, oh very auspicious one. So your lotus feet, oh merciful one, whoever worships every day, oh very auspicious one. What will happen? Ai Kamale, Mother Kamala. Mother Kamala. Mother Lakshmi. Lakshmi is also called Kamala. Mother Kamala. Ai Kamale. Mother Kamala. Kamala Nilaye, who resides in Kamala or residing in Kamala. Who resides in on lotus. Resides on lotus. Kamala Nilaye, residing on lotus. Who sits on lotus. Who resides on lotus. Mother Kamala, who resides on lotus. Kamala Nilaya. Kamala Nilaya makes that worshipper an abode of Kamala. Makes that worshipper an abode of Kamala. Makes that worshipper an abode of Kamala. What does that mean? That worshipper becomes wealthy and prosperous. Wherever that person is, becomes an abode of Kamala itself. So that worshipper becomes wealthy and prosperous. That worshipper becomes wealthy and prosperous is implied. So whoever every day worships your feet, your lotus feet, or merciful one, whoever worships. So your feet, whoever worships, oh auspicious one, Mother Kamala who resides in lotus will reside in that worshipper itself, or will be that worshipper will be a residing place of Kamala itself, or that wherever that person is becomes an abode of wealth and prosperity. Sakatham na bhavet, which literal translation means so how it cannot happen. So how it cannot happen, which is actually a negative way of saying without doubt it happens. Verbal translation means so how it cannot happen. But the meaning, it's a negative way of saying without doubt it happens. Sa kadam na bhavet. Sa katham. So how? Na cannot bhavet occur or happen. So how it cannot happen? It will definitely happen is what is Adi Shankara is trying to say. Or without doubt it will happen. If somebody worships your feet, without doubt, Kamala, goddess Kamala who resides on Kamala will reside in that particular person, or that person becomes the god of wealth and prosperity. Clear? Nobody is agreeing. Clear it now? Okay. Tava padam padameva. Your feet alone. Tava padameva. Tava padameva. Your feet alone. Parambada. Parambada means param pada is supreme achievement. Tabapadameva parampadamithya mityanu silayate. Parampada ityanu silayate. Your feet alone is supreme achievement. Tavapadam eva, your feet alone. Parampadam is supreme achievement. Ityanu silayate. So continuously contemplating. So continuously contemplating. So continuously contemplating. Mama kimna. Mama kimna. My what not. My what not. My what not, by that he means everything is taken care. Everything is taken care. Is not taken care. By what not is taken care. If I continuously contemplate on your feet, which is the most supreme achievement, then my what not is taken care. My everything will be taken care if I contemplate on your feet. My what not is taken care is implied. My what not. Everything will be taken care, is taken care. If your feet alone is supreme achievement. So if that is continuously contemplated, everything will be taken care. Shive, O auspicious one. Shive, O auspicious one. Last line. Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Temyagabartini Shailasude, which is corresponding to the victory or slayer of Mahishasura, beautiful head, daughter of mountain. Devi Shakti as Lakshmi is what is called out in this particular verse, which is quite clear, and you understand the overall flow, right? Can we concentrate on repeat a single sloka? Actually, I did think about it. Earlier, at least Jayadratha has actually written a commentary on Soundar Lahiri, right? So this one actually has the power of actually, I'm quite surprised that someone did not pick this up to write a decent commentary from that perspective. I think Chandi Vidya in that case is mostly kept a secret because it easily gives result, not like Sri Vidya. Sri Vidya takes time. But Chandi Vidya is usually kept a secret. Nobody teaches anybody Chandi Havan and all. Nobody tries to. Everybody will say, I will teach you how to chant Saptashadi and all, which again is useless from that perspective because Anga Angi relationship is there between Saptashadi, Navarna Mantra. So unless and then lock is there, without doing Parigrahanadi Kriya, you will not be able to unlock Chandi Vidya. So Chandi Vidya in that case gives quick results. So from that perspective, it is usually kept, it's safeguarded in within Upasakas. Some things people keep more safeguarded, right? Because it can be easily giving results. So it has multiple locks, multiple checks and all to ensure. So probably that might be the reason nobody tried to do it. But of course, Mahishasura Mardini is extremely powerful. It can, each of these verses has its own Devata, has its own Tantra Prayoga, its own Yantra, and you can have a much better composition rather than Saundar Lahari commentary if some good sadhaka actually picks up Mahishasura Mardini and tries to write a commentary. Each verse can be used as a Prayoga, similar to Saundar Lahari for sure. And much more powerful than Saundar Lahari based on what can be said. Okay, so let's come back. So that is the line. So Padakamalam Karunanile Varivasyati Yonu Dinam Sushive Ai Kamale Kamala Nilaye Kamala Nilaya Sakadam na Bhavet Tava Padameva Param Padamityanu Shilayato Mama Kim na Shive Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramya Kapardini Shailasute is this particular verse. Okay. After next class, we will have a practice session as well on the full one. So we'll plan something next week, which will be our last class as well as we complete 19, 20, and 21. And that next week evening, we will also have a full practice session on the overall verses. Okay. So we'll close for the day with Lakshmi and complete in the next class. Om Shakti.